Imagine this. You've been dating someone for a few months, or maybe even years, and suddenly, the conversation arises. Not about your feelings, not about future plans, not even about the dream vacation you've been planning, but about your phone, your accounts, your private world. Can we share our passwords? Your partner asks. A seemingly simple question, a seemingly harmless request. And yet, in that instant, your mind starts racing. Should you? Shouldn't you? Will this strengthen our bond, or will it plant seeds of mistrust? This is not just a question about apps, emails, or streaming services. This is a question about trust, love, respect, and boundaries. And it's a question that, in the digital age, every couple eventually faces. Today, let's explore this topic deeply, not just from a logical perspective, but from a human one. Let's explore what it means to love, to trust, and to protect both your relationship and yourself. At first glance, sharing passwords seems like the ultimate act of transparency. If we truly trust each other, some say, we should have nothing to hide. And I get it. The world we live in is one where honesty and openness are celebrated. Social media glorifies couples who do everything together, including posting joint accounts, shared playlists, and, we know each other's passwords, posts. But let's pause for a moment. Is transparency the same as control? Is sharing a password an act of love, or is it an act of obligation? Trust isn't built on the ability to monitor someone's every message or activity. Trust is built on belief in the other person's integrity, their respect for you, and the bond you share. When we equate love with access, we risk creating an illusion that transparency equals trust. In reality, it's often the opposite. Think about it. If love required total access, would you be free to have your private thoughts, your personal growth, or your own mistakes? Privacy is not secrecy. Privacy is the soil in which trust grows. Without it, we risk turning love into surveillance, affection into anxiety, and commitment into control. The digital age dilemma. Let's face it, technology has changed the landscape of relationships in ways our parents never imagined. Phones, apps, social media accounts, they are not just tools, they are extensions of ourselves. They hold our conversations, our memories, our dreams, and sometimes even our vulnerabilities. So, when a partner asks for your password, it feels different than asking to borrow your jacket or taste your coffee. This is your inner world they're asking to peek into. And that's why the stakes feel so high. Some people argue that sharing passwords is a modern sign of commitment. I trust you completely, they say. Others argue that refusing to share is a red flag, a signal of hidden intentions. But here's the truth, neither perspective is universally right. It depends on context, communication, and the health of the relationship. The case for sharing passwords. Let's start with the reasons couples might consider sharing passwords. 1. Practical convenience. Sharing passwords can make life easier. Streaming services, online shopping accounts, and even home devices can be managed seamlessly when both partners have access. In a practical sense, it can save time, avoid arguments over who forgot the login, and create a sense of partnership in daily life. 2. Emergencies. There are times when sharing passwords can be life-saving. Imagine a medical emergency, a sudden loss of a device, or an urgent situation where access to important information is necessary. Having shared access can provide security and peace of mind. 3. Symbolic gesture. For some couples, sharing passwords is symbolic. It's a digital handshake that says, I trust you completely. In certain relationships, it can feel like a milestone, a sign that the bond is strong enough to withstand scrutiny. 4. Transparency for reassurance. In relationships with past trust issues, sharing passwords can offer reassurance. It can demonstrate a willingness to be open and accountable. Sometimes, this act helps rebuild trust after betrayal or misunderstandings. These are valid reasons. They come from a place of love, care, and practicality. But, and this is a very important but, there's another side to consider. The case against sharing passwords. Sharing passwords can also create risks, emotional, relational, and personal. 1. Erosion of privacy. Privacy is essential in any healthy relationship. Just as you wouldn't want someone to read your personal journal without permission, your digital life deserves the same respect. Giving unrestricted access can blur boundaries and make you feel exposed in ways that aren't healthy. 2. False sense of security. Sharing passwords might seem like trust, but it can actually mask deeper issues. Trust cannot be measured by access. A relationship built on password sharing alone may neglect the more meaningful foundations: communication, empathy, and mutual respect. 3. Potential for control and jealousy. Passwords can become tools of control. One partner might check messages obsessively, scrutinize posts, or question every interaction. What starts as trust can quickly morph into surveillance, resentment, or even emotional abuse. 4. Loss of individual identity. Relationships thrive when individuals maintain their identities. Sharing every digital detail can dilute personal space and autonomy. You need private thoughts, hobbies, and friendships to continue growing as a person and as a partner. In other words, refusing to share a password does not mean you are hiding something. It means you are respecting yourself and the relationship by maintaining healthy boundaries. Trust versus transparency, a subtle difference. Here's where it gets nuanced. Many people confuse transparency with trust, but they are not the same. Transparency is external. It's about sharing information, showing your actions, and being open. Trust is internal. It's about believing in your partner's integrity, knowing they respect you, and feeling secure in your bond. A couple can be completely transparent, sharing every message, every login, every location, and still lack trust. Conversely, a couple can have personal boundaries, private passwords, and private spaces, and have a trust so deep it's unshakable. So the question isn't whether you should share passwords. The question is, can we trust each other without giving up ourselves? Can we respect boundaries while staying connected? If you want a relationship that balances love, trust, and privacy, here's a framework you can follow. 1. Communicate openly about needs. Start by asking the hard questions. Why do you want the password? Is it for convenience, reassurance, or control? Understanding the why behind the request is critical. 2. Set clear boundaries. Boundaries aren't walls, they are bridges. You can maintain privacy while still being committed. Decide together which accounts or areas are shared and which remain private. Boundaries are a form of respect. 3. Agree on transparency without oversharing. Transparency doesn't require surrendering every digital secret. You can share important information voluntarily, like schedules, passwords for shared accounts, or access in emergencies, without giving unrestricted access to every personal detail. 4. Revisit and reassess. Relationships evolve. What works today may not work in 5 years. Revisit the conversation periodically, and adjust boundaries as trust deepens. Flexibility keeps both partners secure and respected. Consider this: a friend of mine once shared every password with their partner. Initially, it felt like love, like ultimate trust. But soon, small disagreements turned into accusations. Every message was scrutinized, every notification analyzed. Love became anxiety. Privacy had vanished, and with it, a layer of intimacy. On the flip side, another friend refused to share passwords early in the relationship. At first, there was tension, questions, doubt, and uncertainty. But over time, the refusal became a symbol of mutual respect. Each partner maintained their individuality, and trust grew organically. They discovered that love does not require access, it requires belief. These stories remind us that there is no one-size-fits-all answer. Every relationship is unique, and every couple must navigate their own path with honesty, empathy, and self-awareness. Ultimately, the question, should couples share passwords, is really about a bigger truth. Love cannot be reduced to control, monitoring, or digital access. Love is about choice. Love is about respect. Love is about growth. If you find yourself tempted to check your partner's phone, remember this: the act of surveillance is often a reflection of insecurity, not love. If your partner asks for your password, reflect: is this a request born of care or doubt? Are we strengthening trust, or are we weakening it by confusing access with intimacy? Love flourishes when boundaries are honored. Trust strengthens when individuals feel safe, respected, and free. Privacy is not a threat to love, it is the quiet foundation on which love can stand tall. So, here's my message to you: whether you're single, dating, engaged, or married, prioritize trust over transparency. Trust is deeper, stronger, and more enduring than access. Communicate boldly and clearly. Don't let assumptions guide your decisions. Ask questions, listen deeply, and respect feelings. Set boundaries without fear. Boundaries are not rejection, they are self-respect, which is essential to healthy love. Reframe love in the digital age. Technology can connect us, but it can also distract, control, and divide. Let love be about presence, understanding, and empathy, not logins and passwords. In the end, love is not about knowing every detail of someone's digital life. Love is about knowing them, believing in them, and growing together while honoring each person's individuality. Remember this: a relationship built on trust and respect will survive without shared passwords. But a relationship built on fear, control, or constant monitoring will crumble, no matter how many logins you share. So, should couples share passwords? The answer isn't simple. The answer isn't universal. The answer is, it depends on your values, your trust, and your ability to respect both yourself and your partner. But here's what I know with certainty: love thrives on trust, flourishes with boundaries, and grows strongest when we honor the freedom of each other's hearts and minds. Share your passwords if it makes sense, but never share your self-respect. Protect your boundaries, nurture your trust, and remember that love is a garden. It grows best when each person has space to breathe, grow, and bloom. And so, the next time you're faced with the question, pause. Reflect, communicate, and choose the path that strengthens both your love and your freedom. Because a relationship built on trust, not access, is a relationship that lasts a lifetime.